It's almost as if we've started where we left off on the last episode. So the next phase is suspension. I'm getting a slight knock on the front again, but I think I know what the problem is. I think it's the knuckles, but I'm also, whilst I'm there, going to replace all 4 suspension cones. One of the issues I've had with Felix for quite a few years is it's a bit wallowy. I get a lot of rubbing on the rear arches as well. I like the low stance, and to have that I need firmer suspension. I've upped the damping on the shocks, but instead I've gone for these Evolution cones from Mini Spares. Only difference is I've painted them with chassis black because they come in mild steel and they'll rust. Cole at Classic Mini DIY has got these on his Mini. He's changed from springs and he says these are absolutely fantastic. So I'm going on his recommendation. And yeah, we'll go from there and do the rears first because that's easier. The bit I'm not going to enjoy is removing the top bolts to get to the front suspension, because typically they're in a stupid place, and like an idiot I put a pipe in the way, so that's going to have to be removed. So is the wiper motor, but that's not too difficult, I can whip those off. The other issue, and I'm going to find out the hard way, is I don't think my suspension cone compressor will get underneath the bonnet, and I really don't want to remove the bonnet because, as you all know, trying to get these to sit properly is a pain in the arse. My weapon of choice is a Mini Spares spring or cone compressor thingy bobby what's. They are a nice bit of kit, but what I would suggest, if you do buy one, stick a bit of copper grease on the end, and they just screw in, because everything nowadays is metric. I don't think anyone sells the Imperial ones anymore, and these are, as I said, very metric. So, as I've said before, that's going to be a pain in the backside, and rough sizing, that's got to go down into the cone, and it might just be right on the top. As mentioned before, this should be as easy as removing or winding down the high-low and taking the old cone out. It looks a bit, I don't know, looks a bit ropey and used. Whilst I'm under here, I'll give the subframe a bit of a clean, and maybe the CAD arms a bit of a clean as well. They say never a job on a Mini is easy, and that was not easy. I had to drop the shock to get enough room to get everything out. On the high lows, the pin is excessively long, like ridiculously excessively long. It doesn't need to be that long, but there you go. That's the old suspension cone. It's got a bit of rust in it. Doesn't look too worn, it's just the material's terrible. So put a bit of copper grease around the back there and on the mating surfaces, and then we'll try to get it back in. And there, we've got it on. The annoying part of it is the boot dropped off the knuckle, and anybody that's ever done one of those will know how much of a pain in the backside it is. So the easiest way I've found is to put it on the wheel, drop it, so it all levels up a bit, and then I can get around it. But I hope I can, because it is one of the most frustrating jobs, I think, on a Classic Mini next to the clevis pin. And that is both the rears done. I'm going to put those in the bin. It will take a while to settle. The van did exactly the same, so I think once I've taken it around the block after I've done the front, it's going to take some minor adjusting. But that side was an absolute pain in the backside. This side, a lot easier, but I've scratched the paint on the cone where I'd sprayed, but I can touch that up. It's not a game changer, but the main thing is all on. Right, now to the front. Right, with the front in the air now, I've got the tool in. You can see I've got loads of room actually now between the bonnet and the bonnet. But what I've had to do is raise the suspension, because I went down as far as I could and it went below the outer sleeve. So pain in the backside that it is. So with it now, what I essentially do is wind it in so it goes into the cone, hopefully. So we'll do this, because you don't want to see me doing this for ages, and then we'll go to compress. Okay, that's all wound in now. The high-low pretty much dropped out. That's the old ball joint, but I'm going to get the cone out and then I'll inspect all this. And it's practically the reverse, so undo that and the cone should drop out. and then it's an absolute nightmare to get it out of this area. But some people remove the bottom arms, but yeah, best of luck with that. It's out. I'll give you a clue how. Yeah, I had to remove the top arm. That was an absolute nightmare, and to get it back in is going to be a nightmare as well, because the far bolt I can't reach easily. So I'm going to have to put one in for now, and then the second one, when I'm doing some work in the engine bay, I will put it back in. So still to come on that one. So typical Haynes manual, fitting is a reverse of removal, so stand by. Top mount bolts in, and we're all back together on the front. So yeah, I was wrong. You do have to remove the lower arm. That was probably the worst of them because I've got less room. The other side should be easier, but then again, I've said that about these three so far. So we'll get onto the other side and see how it goes. It'll be interesting once the wheel's on and it's settled initially how high it's going to be, because I've never used these cones before. So onto the passenger side. Wheels off. Similar situation before. A lot of lessons have been learned from that side. So try and get into the bolt now. So pipe off. Gonna have to remove the wiper motor. But yeah, we'll go from there. And that's everything off in that corner. Needs a clean again, but yeah, I've got full access to it. Let me know in the comments if you actually want me to do more time lapses. I'm just not sure whether or not people are interested in them, but I'll gladly do them if you want, but I'll cut them down as short as possible. So we've got the tools. I'm going to go and remove the bolt, and we're going to go from there. And it's off. So again, not too much wear in the grand scheme of things. We're getting to the point of being tired, but in the height of the old ones. So underneath the wheel arch, top arm's off, needs a bit of a clean and a re-grease. But yeah, overall, quite happy with how smoothly this side went. So what I will do is put it all back together, and I'll show you the ride height, because I'm not going to bother showing you this side. You've seen that side. Right. So the next thing is, you'll see it, hopefully that worked, everything's back in the engine bay, everything's buttoned up underneath, and for a first sit on new cones, that isn't too bad. They are the lowest they can go on these. That might be a faux pas on my side when we take it out for a drive and it starts to settle, but for the time being I know that even on the lowest it's at a nice enough ride height. The rears need adjusting as well, they sit quite high. But overall, really pleased with it. It didn't go to plan, but as I said, no plan survives first contact. But we'll get it outside, go for a drive, and see how it settles. Initial look round, the front has gone down a fair bit. So that needs to come up. Rear right, yeah, that needs to come up. That's going to rub the slightest bump, so that will need to come up a bit. Rear left probably could stay with being like it is at the moment, and then front left, yeah, that's way too low. So luckily I can adjust these by just turning the steering wheel and getting behind them on the cones, but it has dropped more than I thought it would do. So worst case scenario, it could be slammed, but I won't. Come back from several drives now. So with trying to get these to settle, so take it around the block, get it over speed bumps, which lucky I've got a few around here, and then brought it back, measured, changed both sides, take it for a drive, and rinse repeat until it gets anywhere close. I'm really happy with that now. The front right might need to come up a little, but it isn't rubbing. That's the main thing. I'd have taken you with me, but I don't think you'd have got much from it other than me, probably very silent in the car, but it is an improvement. The beauty is now I go around corners, the rears don't rub at all, so I can really throw it around corners. Front left is fine, The rear left may need to come down a little bit, but I'll be honest, it's a minor adjustment now. One thing I have noticed since I've done it, and I've been playing with the tracking a little bit, is it does need a full 3D geometry setup. So that will be in the future when I've got a bit of time. But for now, she's all good and settled. So that's it for the suspension now. 3D geometry to come up, but it won't be for a while. I've got a few more road miles to put on to settle the suspension a little more, see if it finally falls to where I want it. I've played with the shocks as well, so the setting on the front is a bit harder and softer at the rear, but going round roundabouts and tight corners now, the changes is night and day. Couldn't be more pleased. Next episode, I've got something planned for the engine bay. No, it's not an engine swap, and no, it's not a 16 valve head, but something's in the plan, should we say. But it won't be for a while, waiting on parts. In the meantime, please check out the van. I'll put the link up here somewhere, should be there I think, and see where we're going with that. Next episode will be more fuel related for it, and hopefully we can keep that moving in the meantime over the winter as well. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.